The age-old debate of anime versus manga as to which of them is better than the other. I mean, both of them have their perks and downsides. But that shouldn't stop you from enjoying both of them when they have a shared history altogether, am I right? Hey everyone, and welcome back to another video on our channel. Today we'll be putting an end to this foolish debate about whether which type of visual arts is more enjoyable, anime or manga. Now, before you bring in your pitchforks and declare your loyalty toward either side, I'll be explaining a brief history of both anime and manga, and I'll let you decide which one to choose. Let me know your preference in the comment section below while subscribing to our channel for more updates just like these. With that being said, let's start the video. Oh boy, here we go. In the land of the rising sun, Japan. The most popular art form in the 12th century was the scroll painting known as imanki. Also popular in the 18th century, the ukiyo-e woodblock prints, both of which manga can trace its roots. The word manga is derived from two characters of kanji, with man meaning impromptu and ga meaning photos. Combine the two and you get the meaning of impromptu photos, which can be literally translated to exaggerated photos, or more commonly known as cartoons. This is a graphical novel medium where stories are presented in a right-to-left reading format instead of the usual left-to-right reading the West is so used to. If there are any veteran manga readers out there, they know the struggle of reading the right-to-left format first. Continuing the history of manga, the word was first mentioned among the Japanese people in 1798 to describe a picture book called Shiji no Yukakai, literally translated to 4 seasons. The word was later coined again in 1814 to describe Aikawa Minwa's manga Hyakujo and Hokusai manga, books that contained the drawings by the famous artist Hokusai. Its roots are tied to World War II as well, and the same can be said of anime, but we'll get into that later. After Japan's defeat at the hands of the Allied forces, the United States occupied Japan from 1945 to 1952. And it was during this time that many American cartoons such as Mickey Mouse, Betty Boop, Bambi, and many other Disney licensed series were introduced to the Japanese public. This inspired Japan to make their own version of comics and movies. Enter Osamu Tezuka, aptly known as the godfather of manga. He created the iconic big eyes style, which are still prominent to this day in many manga publications and series. He's created a lot of successful mangas such as Astro Boy, Black Jack, Dororo, Buddha, Kimba the White Lion, Phoenix, and Princess Knight, and they still influence upcoming mangas to this day. He isn't called the Godfather for no reason. There are many subdivisions within manga catalogs as well. First, there's the Kodomomuke manga, which is basically comics made specifically for younger children, such as Pokemon, Doraemon, Digimon, and the like. And no, it doesn't necessarily have to have Mon at the end. Next up is the good old shonen manga, which may have many adult fans, but it's aimed at younger boys below the age of 15, and it presents the adventures of an orphaned, misguided, or misunderstood hero. Take Naruto and Dragon Ball for example. Death Note, One Piece, and Bleach count too. Then we have the shoujo manga, which is created to younger girls and mainly focuses on love and friendship stories of schoolgirls. Popular examples of this include Sailor Moon and Nana. Then there's seinen manga, where all the edgy action happens. Prime examples being Berserk, Vagabond, Vinland Saga, Monster, and so many more. It's aimed at older boys and adults who are above the age of 15. We then have the josei manga, which is basically mature manga but aimed toward older women and adults who are also above the age of 15. Think of it as seinen, but for females only. Some examples of this include Usagi Drop, Citrus, Kagero Days, My Happy Marriage, and Wotakoi. Lastly, we have the hentai category, and I'm not explaining that. You all know what that means, you perverts. A person who creates these mangas is known as a mangaka, and they require a lot, and I mean a lot, of artistic skill to make these scenes come out to life. Not to mention they have a lot of editors to polish out the rough sketches and scripts that they've made. This dedication and artistic mastery is one of the many reasons why many otakus and anime manga fans in general prefer reading manga as compared to watching the anime. Because the mangaka has put so much effort into creating a beautiful drawing that it actually is a unique piece of art. Take Kentaro Miura for example. His panels of the manga Berserk are unparalleled. And let's not forget about Yusuke Murata, who is the creator of the famous manga series One Punch Man and Ice Shield 21, and his panels look beautiful. I mean, Hirohiko Araki, the author of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, has his drawings exhibited at the Louvre in France. How cool is that? Because you can read manga, its medium is pretty quick to catch on to. With weekly, bi-weekly, monthly, or bi-monthly publications, fans can progress through the story seamlessly without any need for fillers. Manga can be read anywhere, and as mentioned before, have exquisite art that doesn't tend to get adapted very easily. Also, there are huge collectors out there for manga volumes. You can also enjoy these books at a public library for free too. And that's how my manga addiction got started. But trust me, there are many mangas out there that have a very bad ending. And I've yet to encounter a good series that has a proper good ending. Now that we've explained a lot about manga, I think it's time we move on to the anime side of the argument. Since manga was being created, there were talks of creating high-quality manga film. But it was during this time that Disney films were more popular than anywhere around the world. So the local production houses faced an uphill battle from the start to begin with. Most of the animations were government-sponsored and were only broadcast as public service messages. It was after the Second World War that in 1956, Okawa Hiroshi, the president of the Toei Film Company, created an animation studio known as Toei Doga, and its mission was to become the Disney of the East. Granted, after the Second World War, Japan was in a bad state, and jobs were really hard to come by. But the people were really determined to work there, even for low salaries, and thanks to government support, they excelled at their art. They released their first film, Hakujeden, in 1958, and people loved it, garnering many awards. Remember how I told you about Osamu Tezuka earlier in the video? Well, guess what? His Astro Boy series was animated in 1963 and created an anime boom within the country. Everyone, and I mean everyone, was glued into their TV in anticipation of the next episode. Which brings us to the points that make anime so much better to watch. Oh, forgot to add that the anime also has the same demographic divisions as its manga. So the whole shonen, seinen, shoujo, josei categories, yeah, they're here too. Now, watching anime has a lot of advantages, and the first among them is that it has sound effects and animation direction. I mean, dude, have you seen this animation? With the right amount of sound effects, dialogue delivery, animation, and direction, whoa, it's the perfect recipe for an amazing experience. Otherwise, you'd get something like this. Another disadvantage of watching anime is watching its fillers. This happens when the anime has caught up to the source material. Because they don't have any more stories to adapt, they create their own. A famous example of this is Naruto, where there are more fillers present rather than story episodes. Not to mention, deviation from the source material is another reason why manga purists stop watching anime altogether. A prime example of this is the Tokyo Ghoul series. Season 1 was going so well, but the second season and the Tokyo Ghoul series just butchered it altogether. There's also the issue of dialogue delivery and the English sub versus dub debate as a whole. I personally chose English subtitles, but there are a few dub shows like Cowboy Bebop, Samurai Champloo, and Monster that are classics. So here's the answer to the ultimate question as to which one is better, anime or manga. Drum roll, please! It's neither. Deal with it. Both mediums have their own unique beauty to it. Manga has extensive artwork and a complete and coherent story devoid of anything trivial like censorship, and the mangaka can freely express their thoughts via their manga series. Of course, it doesn't pay much, and it's a very tough field to enter, but it is what it is. The same can be said for anime, where the right balance of dialogue delivery, audio mixing, and proper animation can make for a wonderful experience to fathom. But if any of these fail, then the whole animation is ruined, and it makes for a sour experience. There's also the fear of censorship and animators being overworked, but let's face it, the manga editors face the same issue here too. So to top it all off, both mediums are amazing. You don't have to choose one and miss out on the other. Don't forget to comment on what you think is the better medium to experience. Like and share this video with your friend, and I'll see you in the next video where we'll be discussing some of the most mind-blowing and jaw-dropping plot twists out there in anime. Have a great one ahead!